Hello again, and welcome to another Transformers review. And as you can see, I'm doing another one of the micromaster teams. One thing to note, I think this was the earlier packaging where they first brought out the micromasters, which is different from the previous packaging. I'll bring that set back in, the Battle Patrol set. As you can see, this is more the silver European, I think, more release. I'm not sure if it was just European and that, but this I'm sure was the later packaging, whereas this was the early packaging when they first brought out the micromasters, and a little bit more like the G1 packaging where it's got the yellow sort of squares and that on the packets. Yeah, I just thought I'd sort of mention that because I'm not sure, these came out in the same year. I'm not sure whether they were a different line or it's just a European only release on the other stuff, and this was more general release when they first brought them out, but maybe someone else knows the story behind that. This set is the Off-Road Patrol, and they came out in 1989 as well. As you can see, you've basically got 4 little trucks. I'll bring the packaging in so you can see the artwork on the front. Again, very nice sort of G1 style artwork. And I'll turn it around so you can see the back of the packet. Now this is sort of another sort of thing where it's different as well, because at this point they were still doing text specs where you'd need a decoder. Yeah, obviously, being that these were bubble wrapped on a card, sorry, on a bubble. They obviously didn't come with a text spec decoder, though obviously by such time as these coming out, most kids probably had enough of them coming out their ear holes if they were into Transformers. But yeah, that's different as well, because on the later packaging it was all done as a, if you've seen my other review, you'll see that the text specs were more in sort of like coloured in blocks, so you didn't need the decoder. So I think this was sort of the borderline where they changed the packaging and probably then headed on into like the G2 type sort of packaging as well. Anyway, that aside, I'll just bring it in so you can see the figures. So you've got the semi-truck style one, which is Powertrain. Then you've got the monster truck, which is Slinger. Little sort of like Jeep 4-wheel drive sort of vehicle, high jump. And then you've got little red van, a little bit like the original Ironhide, and his name's Tote. I'll bring their little right up in, so it doesn't flare too much. There you go. So you can pause it and read up on them as you wish. Right, we're getting out their packaging. Okay, slide it up there out of the way. Right, so we'll start with Tote, I think, to begin with. As I say, very much styled along the lines of G1 Ironhide, I think. They could have almost made a series of these with the classic characters in this size, as they've done really with the Cyberverse figures these days. Not a bad little vehicle mode, you know, freewheeling little wheels on little metal sort of rivets to hold them on. But yeah, just a basic one colour with painted on windows, which they have done all the way around, which is a sort of a nice little touch. Transforming, as with all of these figures, is pretty basic. You can see the sliding metal pin joint there, so you need to pull the front sections of the cab of the vehicle forward, and that allows them to turn, and as you turn them you've got to slide them back, and then they lock in position. You take the back of the van and slide it over to the top, and then you just swing up the arms, which are the lower part of the side of the van. And that's him transformed. Again, very basic little figures, these Cyberverse, these micromaster figures, but quite nicely detailed, along the lines of the similar sort of detailing you get on, say, a target master weapon or a headmaster. Little arm sort of mouldings, and quite nice little head details, if I can get that in focus. And they did pick out odd little bits of colour on them, which, when you consider the scale of these, it's not a bad little sort of like figure, all said and done. Next one, let's see, I'll do High Jump, which is a little Jeep type vehicle. Again, nicely sort of picked out that they painted all of the window applications on him, even like a little moulded in petrol can on the back as well. But yeah, quite a nice little figure. And again, really, you know, that could have almost have been like Brawn from the G1 line, but there you go. Transforming him's simple. You just lower the back wheels down to the bottom, and that allows you to swing out the legs. Bring the figure around that way, and you can flip the front of the vehicle down and round, and then you just swing these side parts down. They don't actually come out, which you'd think they'd come out to make the arms a bit more apparent, but unfortunately that's as much of an arm as you get, which is a little bit of a shame. That could have really just done with being able to move out, but the scale of these figures, that was a bit beyond them in those days. You did get a little bit of head mould in there, a little bit of face detail. His nose has got a little bit of a rub over the years. That's probably due to the transformation. But yeah, not a bad little figure all in all. The next one we go for is Slinger, which I think is pretty good moulding. Quite nice, again, painted window applications, very much in the style of like the Bigfoot truck, which was popular at the time back in the 80s. There was a like full-size truck that used to do the monster truck rallies and that, and you know, this is again sort of like styled along the lines of him. Simple transformation again. You just swing front of the vehicle up and round. The arms are literally already there, attached to the monster truck wheels, and then for the head reveal, you just, there's a little peg on the top there, you just flick that up, and there's his head. And again, they picked out his face with a painted application and a little bit of detail on his chest as well, which again is nice when you consider the size of these. It is good for that era. And then last but not least is Powertrain. Now again, could be like the movie Prime on this scale, couldn't it? Could almost be a repaint job. I've actually got other versions of these, and you could almost do that with them. That might be an idea for me later on, but there you go. Simple transformation again. You just turn the top of the cab round so it's backwards like so. Turn the blue part of the trailer sort of end up like that to form his feet, and that's basically it. You can just swing out the arms from the side like so, and he's transformed. And again, I'll bring him in so you can see a bit of the detail on him. Again, painted sort of face and a little bit of painted application on his chest. Sport a little bit by the great big screw on right in the middle of his stomach, but nature of the transformation and the manufacture of the figure, I suppose. But again, a pretty good little bot, and were, you know, handy little robots to sort of have a whole sort of like scene where you had like Metroplex and Triptychon. These did really add a bit more playability to the bases, that they could be manning the weapons and stuff like that. So again, good sort of little robots in their own right. Not the most obviously complicated Transformers, but they've got their own little niche in the sort of like whole toy line, and did allow obviously kids on perhaps where the families were on a bit more of a budget to buy them a few toys so that they could actually have sort of like their little battles and that as well. But yeah, so that's the Off-Road Patrol from the Micromaster line, and I shall see you again for another review. As I always say, please feel free to subscribe if you're interested in G1 and other Transformers generally, and please feel free to comment, and I shall see you again for another review. Thanks for watching.